Higher gas prices are not the only reason we need to be concerned with our current energy situation. We also have to take into consideration the negative effect that it has on our environment and our national security. With the increased automobile manufacturing and usage along with foreign oil dependency, there are many reasons supporting our need for a domestic alternative fuel solution. We're going to start off with one of the problems facing our economy, which are higher gas prices. Now, if we had our own domestic alternative fuel solution here in the United States, we can keep reproduction and profits in country. We could reduce, it would allow us to reduce the cost of fuel, thus keeping more money in our pockets. That alone would strengthen our economy tremendously. On top of the matter that our gas prices wouldn't be influenced by the global demand or the global market. We don't need nobody else raising our gas prices. We can do that on our own if need be. So not only does our current oil consumption affect our wallets, but it also affects our health and our environment. It affects our health because it makes us more susceptible to diseases and illnesses such as cancer, respiratory diseases, birth defects, airborne diseases, etc. It affects us, it affects the global community or environmentally by constantly depleting our ozone layer, which leads to things like global warming and acid rain, etc., etc., etc. But if we had our own alternative fuel solution here, what we could do is we could reduce the amount of pollutants that's being put into the air that ultimately affects us and the environment. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. And alongside higher gas prices and pollution, our current oil consumption also affects our national security. The reason being is that since we rely very heavily on foreign oil, and oftentimes that foreign oil is used to, well, the money that we pay these foreign countries for their oil is oftentimes used to funnel money to our enemies. You know, they support terrorism a lot of times. And, you know, definitely can't fight a war giving our enemies money. And see, also another negative aspect of our national security is that these emission mandates that are created puts restrictions on the Department of Defense's energy consumption, which means limited battlefield agility, limited combat capabilities. Everything is limited, so it's pretty much just a lose-lose situation. On top of the matter that it takes additional funding just to meet these emission mandate requirements. So it's a lose-lose situation for us as long as we're depending on foreign oil. So, but if we had our own alternative fuel solution here in the United States, we could sever ties with any type of foreign fuel, thus severing the financial umbilical cord of our enemies. That would also give our armed forces, the men and women in our armed forces, enough breathing room and leeway so they can continue to serve and protect our country and our way of life. So with that said, I can now go to the conclusion. In conclusion, an alternative fuel solution would benefit the United States in more ways than one. First, it would strengthen our economy by allowing us to reduce the cost of gas and keep more money in our pockets. Secondly, it would reduce the amount of pollutants that's being released into our environment, thus making the air and everything else safer for us to breathe. And lastly, it would reduce our foreign oil dependency, thus strengthening our national security. So if you're serious about a safer, if you're serious about strengthening our economy and having a safer, more secure United States, I would definitely, hands down, support the need for an alternative fuel solution right here. That will conclude my presentation.